Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Now, don't get it twisted. The episode we just watched was some mid, but all the stuff that is popping off behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, just further enshrines this season as iconic because, ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, we have figured out a lot of things tonight. Number one, we figured out Cynthia has evolved her game to a new level. The energy has evolved. We figured out that Chris Kirkpatrick, being so gun shy in his gameplay implementation, not being willing to take that shot on Monday night, has really hurt his reputation in the game to the point where he's desperate to make a big move. And Shanna by proxy's game also took a hit. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Kattan has quit. Chris Kattan has already left the house. All of this has popped off, and we're not even halfway through the week. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed, the Pop the Trunk podcast, now Patreon exclusively sponsored Hall of Fame, Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. I'm, of course, your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game, Ultra, Smith Dog Trill, The Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, the Pro Black Prodigy, the Shadow Realm Shaman, the Pronoun Punisher, and the No Sleep Assassin, here to bring balance back to Celebrity Big Brother Season 3, all of the above, on that ISAT test in ACT. You know what it is! The stones are shining special tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, in the 10th Celebrity Big Brother US Season 3 Rant, I'm gonna break down all of this, entitled Say No More, Say Less. Now, this quote was from 50 Cent herself, Cynthia Bailey. Now, first thing foremost, I gotta give her some credit because most people in her position, most people in Carson's position, knowing that their arch enemy, who's this MMA fighting machine on the Sarah Connor side of the game like Miesha Cupcake Take truly is, most people would fall on their sword. Most people would lose hope. But I gotta give Cynthia credit because the fight in her, everything I questioned whether she would try to do, in terms of, oh, Shayna let her know about the backdoor plan a little prematurely. Chris Kirkpatrick turns into Chris Kirk flop trick by not trying to do it. In fact, he threw the veto so he wouldn't have to do it. Came off very beta. I gotta be honest, I'm starting to agree with MARAI. You're giving up them backup singer vibes. You're not giving us that lead singer type swagger. I gotta keep it a bean. You're not like Mick Jagger. Yes, we got to bring bars to the table tonight. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, Shayna told Carson and Cynthia about the plan to backdoor Todrick. Cynthia refused to be off code to the extent that she still pushed for some inkling of a chance for this guy Kirkpatrick to see the light. Miesha was the one to backdoor. Why? Because you didn't have the votes to backdoor Todrick. Clearly, because everything was riding on Chris Kattan knowing what to do. But if you would have just backdoored Miesha, if you would have let go of this weird attachment you have, and see, Shayna's already exposed you on feeds. Shayna, Cynthia, and Carson are proven to be the holy trinity of this season, because when it's time for them to talk that hot stuff, they talk that hot stuff. Understand, Shayna is under the assumption, okay? I think she is at that turning point and breaking point here. Now, I'm going to get into what the plan is, but we got to get there first, okay? I'm trying to give you all a quick rundown of these feeds. Understand, Shayna is under the impression that Chris Kirkpatrick has some weird obsession with Miesha Tate and is creating hatred towards Todrick based off of that. It's like, well, she's basically calling it a love triangle, essentially. So Cynthia, Carson, and Shayna believe the reason Chris Kirkpatrick wanted to backdoor Todrick so bad was simply because he wanted Miesha to himself. Now, here's the thing. The only backdoor that would have popped off on Monday was Miesha. I've done the number crunching. It would have never really worked unless Kirkpatrick won the veto himself and then tried to wheel and deal. Other than that, it was still cutting it close because Cynthia was unwilling to vote out Todrick. So if Cynthia's unwilling to vote out Todrick, if she was going to always vote out MARAI or Kattan over him, there was no way to get rid of Todrick on Monday. So I want to say that to fans who are mad at Kirkpatrick from that standpoint. But with that said, I don't like the Monday morning quarterback, or the Tuesday morning, whichever way you want to look at it, of pump faking a move, act like you're gonna be the Robin Hood of the season that saves people who are downtrodden on the bottom of the game. Then when the moment comes, you shrivel up like a raisin in the California sun. Listen, coach, all right? Listen, you were supposed to be the prince who was promised. You were supposed to be Azura High. We had our expectations high. Okay, I'm over here hyping you up, saying you're going to make a big move on Monday night. You refused to do so. So now all of us are let down. Now, the glass is always half full, and that was my purpose of my last rant, right? Letting y'all know, well, MARAI wasn't really built for this. Maybe it's a blessing she's gone. And now that Kattan quit, I'd argue this is still a blessing. Now, unfortunately, Kattan quitting did not change the week. It's not as if, okay, new HOH comp, guys, go and get it. Production said, nah, we still gonna let Miesha get the smoke from CARSON. Now, I was under the assumption that the only way Cynthia and CARSON could work their way out of this would be to snitch on Kirkpatrick and Shanna for their own mistake of prematurely telling them about the backdoor plan. And of course, now that Miesha's the new HOH, Kirkpatrick is even more socially awkward than before. And now Todrick knows because of Cynthia's fantastic social and strategic gameplay. She let Todrick know, hey man, this dude Kirkpatrick coming around giving us little tidbits of what's going on in these little meetings with Miesha, and he's acting like we should have some undying loyalty to him. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. And at the end of the day, he wanted me to give you up, but me and CARSON refused to. So when Todrick asked her about Shanna, all Cynthia said was, like I said, me and CARSON covered for you. See, that's how you shit on someone, coach, without outright shitting on them. See, from a game standpoint, Cynthia is learning. She's learning. And see, she's going to become a dangerous player, and I'll explain why, ladies and gentlemen. Because every fan of Cynthia and CARSON, heading into today, we're in doom and gloom because CARSON was talking like even if he wins veto, he's going to use it on Cynthia. We're like, hold up, coach. Even Cynthia fans know that's bad for her game because you'll go if you're on that block on Friday. We need you off that block because Cynthia can survive next to damn near anyone. In my opinion, I think she can. And that's where we are today, ladies and gentlemen, because Todrick is now is fully aware of what Kirkpatrick was willing to do to him. Now he wants all the smoke with him. Who does this help? Cynthia's game, CARSON's game, Shayna's game. And to fast forward to the veto results, this is what took me so long to go live. Shanna won the veto. So now she can atone for not using the veto on Monday night by using the veto on Friday night. And at the end of the day, the plan is already being in the works on feeds. Shanna would like to use the veto on CARSON, take him off. It sounds like because Kattan has already quit, now Miesha's kind of concerned about all these black folks still being in the game. Think about it. Do you want to go in the final 8 with 4 black folks? I'm just saying, you're asking to get cookouted. I just created a word. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to get to a point where even if people got beef, I'm talking Kirkpatrick and possibly Miesha, Todrick and possibly Shanna, it's going to get to a point where Todrick and Miesha have to make a decision. And see, this is where we get to see if Miesha's a cold-blooded great player or not. Because a great player sees Shanna take off CARSON and immediately, they're flipping on me, I'm throwing up Kirkpatrick in CARSON's place. Bye-bye. That's what a great player does. But if she decides, oh, I got this fear of black excellence, to the point where she throws up a TODD or a Lamar, now to be fair, she ain't got no choices left. I'm being honest, she ain't got no choices because Kattan's gone. So it's either Kirkpatrick, TODD, or Lamar. Those are the only, because she ain't throwing up Todrick. So those are the only options here. But for her game, I think she thinks Kirkpatrick is a shield for her too. So I think she's unwilling to take out Kirkpatrick because last week during week 2, even if Kirkpatrick's HOH was was a shambles. As shout out to my people in the United Kingdom, it was a shambles. You feel it, Damien? Even though it was shambolic, he still at least showed Miesha he's not willing to cross her. He might be willing to do a lot of other things, but he ain't willing to cross her. I think that's the only saving grace he has this week. But I got to be honest, Miesha, I think Todrick is going to try to work you something serious before Friday. And I think he's going to try to get her to put up Kirkpatrick into place because Todrick knows for a fact that that was Kirkpatrick and Shanna's plan. How does the plan just change in 2 days? It doesn't. Nothing really changes that much. And now with Kattan being gone, a person a lot of people wanted to stick around simply because for their game, he's not coming after them anytime soon. It will be very ironic for all of the beefing Todd and Kattan did with each other for them both to leave out the same week. I mean, damn. and today's episode was the first time Todd ever got any visibility for having any awareness in the game. And he might be backdoored and sent to the Shadow Realm. Listen, he's not going to see this coming. And see, this is why this all comes down to Lamar Odom. I've been alluding to this. I've been leading up to this. Who would have thought that Friday night's vote, for all intents and purposes, if it's Todd versus Cynthia on that block, who would have thought that this game, the entertainment value reaching its peak, could be completely predicated on Lamar Odom flipping on Todd, Todrick, and Miesha to create a 4-2 vote. Because understand a 3-3 tie leads to Miesha just getting the same tie she would have gotten week 1. Remember, Shanna created the narrative. She didn't create the 4-4 because it didn't make a difference. If she's going to flip anyway, why not just flip? So in this situation, now Shanna finally understands why it's okay. Well, to be fair, she wanted to avoid the tie last time. But this time around, she's on the other side of Miesha in that tie scenario. So now she really wants to get that majority. And a lot of people believe Lamar is closer to Cynthia than he ever will be to Todd. Hence why I think the Ducks are currently in a row for Lamar to pull off a shocker, flip to CARSON, Cynthia, and Shanna's side, along with Kirkpatrick, at least for 1 week. And by doing this and taking out Todd, this means heading in the final 8, we have 6 versus 2, which really is 6 versus 1 in the HOH comp, meaning Todrick is basically one man versus the world in that next HOH comp on Friday. That's how things are setting up, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let me take that back. Wait a minute. Chris Kattan's already gone. We're already in the final 8. Wait a minute. Hold on. I might have to reassess my math there. If we're already in the final 8, then that means causing that flip will actually make it 5 versus 2. Let me take that back. Lamar, Cynthia, CARSON, Shanna, Kirkpatrick. Yeah, so that would be 5 versus 2, technically. And I don't think fans would mind that flip right there. I mean, to be honest, we kind of wanted that on Monday. But like I told you all, for Cynthia's game, she needs Todrick to outlast Miesha. So I'm happy that Cynthia did not cave in to pressure. She did not bash Todrick. And she was able to also use the fact she never bashed him to prop up CARSON in Todrick's eyes. Because now even in the edit, you're seeing Todrick say, you know what, for all the problems I had with CARSON, Kirkpatrick might be a bigger threat to my game right now than CARSON. And as long as that reasonable doubt kicks in his mind, Cynthia gets all the credit if Todd goes home this week and they go into next week and survive a second Miesha HOH. Listen, Cynthia's got to get the credit. Come on now. She's the one who Shanna is trying so hard to impress after messing up. And rightfully so. And I think Shanna's living with a lot of regret because what she sees is week 1, she empowered a side that really does not know how to stop putting hot sauce on the chicken. That's a slogan I like to use, but it's another way of saying showboating. I'm not saying Miesha's a showboater necessarily, but Todrick has his ways. And I think Todrick is really underappreciating Lamar Odom's contribution to their side. I think he just assumes Lamar is with that Athletes Alliance for good, but I'm watching these feeds and I'm seeing Todrick like, can I wear your clothes? Can I wear your chain? Soon as he says, yeah, you can grab it, man, but you can't put it on until you do something for me. Man, I'm going to put it on anyway. Oh, this cheap-ass chain. Like, he does little stuff to where Lamar, he ain't going to forget that type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't disrespect a grown man's chain. Not if he had the heart to bring it in there, you know? But at the end of the day, that's how the game is shaping out to play, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we have a scenario where even though Miesha, Tate, and Todrick are on to Kirkpatrick, Kirkpatrick does just enough ass kissing of Miesha to where she is unwilling to sacrifice him. And because they're already in the final 8 with 4 black folks, let me correct myself. You don't want to be in final 7 with 4 black folks. And if you're Miesha, you don't want to sacrifice Kirkpatrick, who really is the only person left that somebody might target over you. But at this point, let's keep it real. If Kattan and Todd leave the same week, the only people not going for you at that point, Miesha, is probably Todrick. So it just goes to show you why we love this game so much. In any moment, the game can flip on its head, right? Like, I took a complete break from feeds yesterday, and I'm glad I did, because when it was time to catch up on feeds, I mean, there's more dead time. There's probably 3 times as much dead time where the feeds aren't on than feeds are on. And now we find out it's because Chris Kattan was throwing a fit. He wanted to be let go, and they wouldn't let him go. And from what I'm hearing, Lamar Odom also chipped in on throwing a fit with Chris Kattan. He kind of stoked some flames a little bit. So I think Lamar Odom is playing well. And I think for his win conditions, he has to see that the flip is the best play. Why would you want to be at the end with Todrick and Miesha Tate and have to win out to beat them when I argue just flipping during this week pads your resume up enough to where you might not even need to win another competition until final 5, and you can still win the game. Like for Lamar, it's almost like the right move shows itself to him at every turn. And for Todd, I mean, this guy was in my power ranking top 5 a day or so ago. I got to own it. But this is why the game is so interesting, because the reason why Todd entered the top 5 is because I thought anyone would take him to the end. But Todd being unwilling to flip and then believing Lamar would at least consider it, that is why you see that side care more about Lamar than Todd. And see, now that Kattan is gone, Todd's purpose doesn't really serve as much for people, right? Because someone could create the argument, well, if Todd won HOH, maybe he goes after Kirkpatrick and Kattan. Maybe he really is just going after Kattan. Someone got to take out Kattan. Kattan is too good of a story to let reach the end. In this case, by Kattan actually quitting, now you don't even need Todd to do that. So what do you need Todd for? And he told you all that he's a loyal soldier specifically for Miesha and Todrick. And because of that, his unwillingness to pivot is why I believe he will meet his peril fairly soon on Friday if things do not change, ladies and gentlemen. So that's my thoughts on that. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear your thoughts now, because I just hit y'all with a lot of information very quickly. And I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Chris Kattan quitting? What is your thoughts on Chris Kirkpatrick contemplating backdooring Todrick, Shanna mistakenly, prematurely giving information away to Cynthia and CARSON? Shanna wins the veto, which safeguards her, but without hesitation, she is willing to use the veto to take off CARSON. In theory, this should work her way back into the good graces for them to start trusting her. But the fact that Cynthia still went out of her way to not speak highly of Shanna in front of Todrick says all I need to know that Cynthia is still playing 5D chess here. I think Shanna made a big mistake of showing Cynthia who she really was as early as week 1. I think Cynthia, with her Sharingan, used a Kakashi-type copy ninja style, and she figured out your go-to move. And now that she knows your go-to move, she's your lockdown defender now. And that's the thing. Shayna's in a position of, I have to prove myself to y'all because you're going with y'all to the end, the only way I can win. But she's done enough damage to where when she goes to that end with them, they will never trust her and let her win. So, I love every single facet of this, right? The underdog factor of it all. The fact that Cynthia was in a position where she could have given up, but she didn't. The fact that she's a recruit for all intents and purposes. but there ain't no quit in her. The fact that CARSON was talking like, if I went veto, I'm taking you off, Cynthia, and she kept telling him, no, you ain't finna do that stupid stuff. You win the veto, you take yourself off. I like hearing that, all right? Because Cynthia don't want no handouts. She want to stay here off her own merit, and that's why in this rant, I hope I did a fantastic job of breaking down why her own merit of gameplay will be the reason she most likely survives on the block on Friday night. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on my way to the Bat Cave. I would like to answer some of your questions, mainly because there's a lot of stuff I did not expect I would have to hammer home tonight. I definitely thought this would be a light day because feeds were very light and the episode was fairly self-explanatory. But yeah, that pretty much looks like how the game is looking. It looks like now that we're already in Final 8, it looks like heading into Final 7, Miesha will want to make sure there aren't 4 black people in Final 7. She'll want to at least make sure there isn't a black majority in Final 7, which isn't the worst gameplay in the world, because Todrick, he made her a little suspicious of him by saying, I'm not trying to create a Cookout 2.0. And a lot of people have always believed that Todrick, who has played a game that was somewhat anti-black, but I'm going to give him some credit, though. He's played pretty well on them feeds the last couple of days, though. I got to give him some credit. He be noticing some stuff. He don't always speak on it, but he was talking to the cams, and he was basically just telling them like, hey, I'm gonna delete my Twitter after the season. I'm thinking, is production tipping him off how people feel about him? That's not a good sign. But other than that though, everybody seems to be playing towards their win conditions. Even though he didn't want Cynthia or CARSON to win, I still appreciate the fact that he's willing to pivot with Cynthia if it means he outs Kirkpatrick. This is what Big Brother's all about. You shouldn't be holding grudges with people. And the fact that Cynthia was someone who said he sold his soul a week or so ago, and this week she's coming to him like she never lost any trust in him, exceptional. Exceptional. But yes, I'm on my way to answer y'all questions, and I would like to hear y'all thoughts on this game. I know there's going to be a lot of Cynthia fans who are nervous, especially coming out of an episode like that with no context of Kattan quitting. It seems like Miesha was never going to throw up Kattan anyway, and then no one really expected Kirkpatrick to go up, but with that said, no one really thought Cynthia could survive this week if CARSON came off either, based off of the optics of it all. The fact that Cynthia will have a chance to not only stay, but the fact that she can take credit for initiating the pivoting prowess that she gathered from a mistake Shanna and Kirk made initially. I mean, listen, this is the beginning of her winner's edit, and people cannot take that away from her. And if Lamar flips, we can honestly say that's because of Cynthia too, because I don't think he flips if Cynthia's not on that side. So does Lamar care about Shanna like that? Does he care about CARSON like that? If he flips, it's because he cares about Cynthia. And this, once again, is why this rant is so Cynthia-centric. Okay, so I'm on my way to start answering questions. Please do not forget to hit that like button. Y'all are deep in here tonight. Salute to all of you. KK said, did Kattan quit or is he injured? Hey, this could very well be an injury, all right? This could be an injury. But based off of live feeds, based off live feed chats, nah, he's out of here, coach. The Shadow Realm awaits. And see, here's another crazy thing about this, right? Kattan quitting means we can't get a tie now because we're already in Final 8, meaning there's only 5 votes now. See, if Kattan was still in the game, there could still be a tie, so Lamar could still play both sides, and Miesha could still get out of Cynthia. Now, I agree with you, Abdi. Kattan leaving cost Todd the game, and I think Kattan's going to get a good laugh out of that. Yeah, all them nights you kept me up, wouldn't let me get any sleep, led to more pain than led to me quitting, and it ruined your game. Listen, hey, Kattan, I could be your ghostwriter, man. We could go platinum. You know what I'm saying? We could go platinum. I can help you with the diss track. You feel it? Dig me? I'm just saying what it is. I'm just saying what it is. But yeah, so to clear that up, Gabby, if Kattan is gone, it can't be 3-3 tie. Yes. Yes, he's gone. Abdi says, I want Cynthia to win. Fuji says, damn, why did he quit? I think he was just going through a lot of pain, yo. When I looked up them spinal injuries, hurt my back spinal. I couldn't resist. But when I heard about some of that stuff, I knew what it was, man. I knew what it was, man. I knew he was going through it in there, and I think that's why Kirkpatrick decided, man, I'm just gonna start using him as a pawn. He's not gonna last for long. Why burn a bridge with someone who's gonna last long in this game when I could just throw up Kattan, who at any moment could just blow up and quit? And from that standpoint, I could see Kirkpatrick playing well because he's limiting the blowback in the blood, but his hesitancy, him not being willing to stand on his square, and let's just be honest, the fact that he's jealous of a gay man's relationship with a straight woman, it really makes him look funny style in these streets. And there's not many chances you'll get me defending Todrick, but in this equation, I think I'm on Todrick's side because Todrick seems to have Cynthia's back more than Kirkpatrick. And that says a lot because Todrick has said a lot of funny style stuff towards Cynthia. But in this equation, I think Cynthia has maybe turned Todrick around to not hating CARSON that much too. So, I mean, it's such a net positive for Cynthia. You know, who would have thought in 2022 that 50 Cent would still be having her way with the game? All right, that's a line for y'all hip hop heads. That was a nice one. Off the dome, what can I say? But it is what it is. Twana says, I thought Kattan was just giving a sweet speech to give MARAI a chance to stay. I didn't realize he actually wanted to leave the game. No. He's really been in some pain, you know. And I wish him the best. I hope this didn't cost him his money. You know what I'm saying? Because someone who's been through all that pain, one would create the assumptions that he was on this season to afford medical bills or possibly to afford something to be in less pain, right? So I hope that didn't, hurt anything in that department. Abdi says, does Cynthia need Lamar or Todd in the final two to win the game? I think if she's at the end, see, here's the thing, right? Because the whole cast gets to vote, I think she can beat Shanna at the end. I think TEDDI votes for Cynthia. I think CARSON votes for Cynthia. I think MARAI votes for Cynthia. Mainly because TEDDI and MARAI had a fight the week TEDDI went home, and I'd argue that hurt MARAI's game even further because then people couldn't trust her. So you could create the argument that Cynthia has 3 votes locked in, and I didn't even count in the black men yet. So listen, Cynthia could beat Shane at the end. She could beat Lamar in theory. Todd, I don't think he most likely isn't going to make it past this week for her to be in final 2 with him. It's unfortunate, but hey, these are the breaks. But yeah, so at the end of the day, Cynthia has a chance here. I think there's argument to be had that she could beat CARSON now. Because for all the hype CARSON came into this game with, it's more of Cynthia's gameplay that's saving him this week, not his own, right? It's Cynthia being able to swallow her pride and not go completely in on Shayna's trifling self after week 1 that kept Shanna somewhat close enough to regret the decision. Let's talk about it. If Real Housewives of Atlanta, Cynthia, if she turns into some other archetype from that show and she goes Bad Girls Club on Shayna wins this veto. Matter of fact, Shayna might not even want to win this veto if she doesn't feel like I need to prove myself to these people because they've been so much nicer to me than these other people that I flipped to their side with, and they're so ungrateful, right? It's at the end of the day, these people are cooking you 5-star meals damn near. They're making you feel good, right? They're giving you comfort food. They're never into the drama. Matter of fact, you've done them wrong more than they've done you wrong. The only reason why you feel the way you do is through the guilt of knowing you did them dirty, right? And I think this is why Kirkpatrick's energy is so weird. Like, I was watching feeds, right? And this had to be like right after the HOH. Right after Miesha won it, probably. It's late at night, maybe. Or it could have been it could have been Tuesday morning. But Todrick was sitting in the, couch area, like the futon area in the bathroom. Kirkpatrick is, looking in the mirror, doing something. And I think Shayna was, it could have been Miesha, but I think it was Shayna. She was talking to Todrick. Todrick eventually says something specifically to Chris, but it was just a sideways comment. It wasn't like shade. It was just a joke. Chris turned around like he wanted to fight. That's when I knew, yeah, he's at that boiling point where any little thing he wants to turn into a problem. And see, I started to notice that Chris Kirkpatrick and Miesha both had this, hey man, we need to be careful. There's a little too many black folks towards the end of this game because After Kirkpatrick failed to backdoor Todrick, Kattan runs to him and it's like, hey, Todd's mistreating me, yada, yada, yada. Now, I don't know if Kirkpatrick tried to figure out a game reason to turn Todd into a target or not, because his HOH week, he was really only fixated with Lamar being his backdoor option outside of Todrick. But from what I could gather, he started going out of his way to talk about how Todd is messy in the house and how he's growing he's growing impatient with him. So he's tried to target Lamar. He tried to backdoor Todrick, and he's trying to turn Todd into a target because he doesn't clean up enough. If you ask me, he has an agenda against every black man in the game because he don't want too many of y'all at the end. You know what I'm saying? He don't want to listen. He don't want to compete against the Harlem Globetrotters in Final Four. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying what it is. And honestly, from a number standpoint, I'm not knocking that, but I'm just telling y'all how it is. Cynthia could win against Todd, Lamar, Todrick, or Miesha. I think she could win against Todrick as well. I agree with that. Because I think a lot of the people who would give Todrick a vote would vote for Cynthia more. Actually, Todrick needs Cynthia and CARSON to not make Final Two because they seem to be the only two guaranteed to give him a vote. But that seems to be contingent on him being at the end next to Miesha because they hate Miesha. In theory, if Todrick is next to someone like Lamar, I think Lamar gets that vote. Especially if Lamar is the one that flips to open up the game for that side. They're going to look at him like he's Moses. I'm just saying what Moses owed him. All right? I'm just saying what it is. I thought Kattan was just giving. Oh, I already read that. Sorry about that. Who would Shanna put up if she was HOH? Shanna wants to smoke with Miesha more than you know now. I think she puts up Miesha next to Todrick. I think pretty much anyone, if Todd goes home on Friday over Cynthia, I think anyone that wins HOH, not named Todrick, puts up Todrick and Miesha. I think it's just the standard move. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm not sure on the details necessarily. I'd say Father Spoiler Guy if y'all want to know why Kattan exactly quit, but it sounds like he was just in a lot of pain. I already answered that. That's a good question. Who is playing the best rat game, Shanna or Lamar Odom? I see you, Gabby. Honestly, I don't think Lamar Odom is playing a rat game at all. Right? I think he's just he doesn't overly talk. He doesn't talk too much. And in this house, that's an asset to have an alliance member because if you're not talking, you're listening. Not only that, by not talking too much, people can't gauge where your head is at all times. So while Todrick is over here flirting with Lamar, trying to wear his clothes and all this other stuff, there's no better dichotomy to me. And I think when this season's over, Todrick's going to look back and notice a lot of mistakes he made with Lamar and Todd. Because in theory, he had all the Infinity Stones twice in this game. He dodged the back door, had the Infinity Stones again after Miesha won HOH. If Miesha throws up Todd over Kirkpatrick, it tells me that Todrick does not have the pull and he does not deserve to win in any circumstance over Miesha. That's what it tells me. Because if you can't convince her to make a move that's in your best interest because Todd is never flipping, and she still takes out Todd, man, y'all deserve what comes to you, coach. Say no more, say less. This is the moment of truth for you, Todrick. Now, here's the thing. Todrick's obsession with CARSON blinded him a lot, in my opinion, to the fact that everyone now knows he's a capable player and a very dangerous player. We saw during today's HOH competition, very difficult competition. I mean, you got to keep a foot on a buzzer, your right butt cheek, your left butt cheek on a buzzer. You got to keep your foot on a buzzer, and you got to take off all this ski lodge equipment all at the same time. That was not a competition built for anybody taller or bigger. Okay, Lamar was always going to be bad at that. Cynthia, for all intents and purposes, was always going to be bad at that. I thought CARSON did a fairly decent job, and even he pretty much got lapped. I mean, Miesha did twice as good as CARSON did, and Todrick almost did twice as good as CARSON as well. So, at the end of the day, I see why Todrick competed so hard for that HOH. He needed to. But each time he finishes just behind Miesha, He's just further telling everyone he needs to go right after her. And see, that's the thing, right? When CARSON was talking to Todrick, Todrick created the excuse, I didn't want to have to play this game, and I'm sorry how the way things shook out. But I want you to know whatever Miesha does is her decisions, it's not mine. I'm just a loyal friend, a loyal ally of hers. I don't want to be blamed for what she's doing. In other words, he doesn't want to take residual damage for her actions. Now, Shanna's taking residual damage for Kirkpatrick's actions. So it's only fair that you take residual damage for Miesha's actions, because from a social standpoint, she's not doing anything to make the women of that house feel more secure, feel more comfortable. Now, maybe this is all just an MMA intimidation tactic that she learned maybe from her fighting background. I'm not sure. But Monday night, all these people seemed a little shook. But now, as of Wednesday night, they all seem to have this hope now that they can rise above it. And that's all that you want to see from a fan standpoint. You do not want to see people fall over and just die in this game. And now with Kattan gone, and it sounds like Todd leaving this week, every person left in the game after Friday, we can create the argument deserves to win. How many games, how many seasons can we actually say that about? We got to give this season a little bit of credit. Got to give it a little bit of credit. I had low expectations myself, but I've been fooled. Like, I'm seeing some gameplay. I feel bad for Todd. KK says people mad at him for snoring. He can't help that. Go to another room. I agree with you on that, but I think the real reason they're mad at Todd is because he's unwilling to ever flip. He told people, I'm a loyal soldier, you know? Like you like at the end of the day, Todd, I hold Todrick accountable for being for kissing Miesha's butt too much, but shoot, at least she gives him some special treatment. She don't even give you special treatment like that, Todd. You think you got a final two with her. Come on, man. If a tree fall in the forest and no one's there to see it, did it happen? If we never saw your final two being made on feeds, did it happen? Because it ain't on the TV screen. It ain't in the edit. But that's neither here nor there. Abdi says, will Kattan get a juror vote or America vote replace his vote? That's a great question. If I had to guess, America will probably replace his vote. If I had to guess, because he quit, they probably will not want to give him any spotlight to that effect. Because if they allow him to vote, they got to pay him again, right? So if I had to guess, they're gonna save that money. And judging by the fact that they didn't allow Tiffany Pollard on the season to save money, they probably will want to penny pinch a little bit here. KK says, who do you think gets America's favorite player? CARSON is the favorite, but I think Cynthia and Lamar have a good chance. I think Lamar has a fantastic chance. I've never seen so many non-black people appreciate a straight black man in my life. I just got to be honest, especially in this community. All right, now part of me always has my antennas up. I can't tell if they're laughing at him or with him, but it doesn't matter. The man is still playing a game that's respectable, so I'm not going to hate on it. Abdi says, Flobdrick trying to... You said it, not me. For the algorithm's sake, I'm not finishing that sentence now. But Gabby says, hopefully Lamar isn't the replacement. Nam, I agree. Miesha's a guy's girl. Red flags. KK, you wild. KK says, why are these guys so obsessed with Miesha? Send her packing. I don't know. On feeds, they were talking like, it's like the girls love Todrick and the men love Miesha. But I think a lot of it is, if you're the guy who takes out Miesha, you're now viewed as the king of the hill. No one early in the game wants to be the one to say this is Sparta, plant their flag into the ground, and send someone to the Shadow Realm. Nobody wants to do... Well, they're okay with sending certain people to the Shadow Realm. They don't want to send the big threats to the Shadow Realm. Because once you do that, the target on your back exponentially grows. And then you have to live up to the expectation of being that person who now has the juice from taking out that person who had the juice. Kirkpatrick, he completely shriveled up under that pressure. He didn't want it. He proved himself to be a backup dancer, like I said. Shanna seems to be someone willing to take the mic and go crazy. So, hey, I appreciate Shanna's aggressiveness here because she has to see it. They blew the chance on Monday. And granted, MARAI's going now and Kattan quit, and they have another chance now. If they blow this chance again this time, none of them deserve to win, and that's why I think they're going to take their shot. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed the 10th rant of Celebrity Big Brother 3 entitled say no more, say less. I try my best to give you all that freestyle live feeds update, rapid fire, while also telling y'all a few of the new information that just came out like an hour ago. So I was over here watching feeds and the episode at the same time. It's one of the few times where feeds stay on while the episode is airing. I'm so used to them turning feeds off for the episode. I was like, yo, you feel me? But I hope you've all enjoyed this, and I hope you Cynthia fans now have newfound hope, knowing that she has a shot to not only survive this week, but have a lot of Infinity Stones. Because here's the thing. Shanna uses this veto on CARSON, and then Todd goes up, and then Todd leaves on Friday. Guess what? CARSON and Cynthia are no longer the biggest threats, even if Todrick wins HOH. Guess who Todrick got to go after? Not CARSON, not Cynthia, Shanna, and Chris. It's perfect. It's perfect, coach. All right. So at the end of the day, don't lose hope. All right. The fight continues. And this is why we love this game, because at any moment, the game can change. I'm Dave Smith with Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And I'm going to see you all on Friday night for another one. Until next time, the Stones, they have a mind of their own. If I snap, you'll disappear. Just like Todd's win conditions. Wait a minute. I didn't give y'all a power ranking. Hold up now. Hold on, I can't even do y'all like that. I'm feeling myself. I'm going to give y'all a power ranking. Number 1, Cynthia Bailey. I got to do it. I got to do it. Number 2, Carson KRESSLEY. I got to keep it a bean. Number 3, Todrick Hall. Okay? Because I believe he'll survive next week no matter what, barring a double. Number 4, Shanna MOAKLER. She's stepping out of Kirkpatrick's shadow. And number 5, Lamar ODOM. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you on the flip side. And never forget, I am inevitable.